Hey everybody on YouTube land, my name is Mike and I love guitars. In today's video, we're going to check out a cool little device that I just came across for the first time. Today we're going to look at the little black amp box by JHS pedals. Let's do this. First, I want to give the obligatory disclaimer that this is not a sponsored video. This little black amp box was bought and paid for, and most importantly, all views expressed in this video are my own. These days, there are tons of options for playing guitar quietly, if not silently. Amp modelers, preamp pedals, and even amps with headphone outputs are now widely available. A lot of those options are even quite affordable. But what about us boomers that still have and love our loud tube amps? What if we want to get that crank tube amp sound without getting evicted or getting the cops called on us, or maybe even getting divorced? Eddie Van Halen made Variacs famous, but I don't particularly like the idea of starving my amp of electricity. Power attenuators that go between your amp and your cabinet have been around for quite a while and generally work really well, but can be more than a little expensive. Well, JHS has an option that won't break the bank. Retailing at a whopping $65 US, the little black amp box is an affordable option that I was intrigued by. The little black amp box is not a power attenuator and it does not go between your amp and your cabinet. Seriously, don't do it. You'll blow your amp up. This little guy is labeled as a volume utility and actually runs in the effects loop. As the name implies, it has a very small footprint and only a single knob for control. Being so small, it can easily fit on your pedal board or even into the back of the amp itself. Well, enough of me jibber-jabbering about the little black amp box. Let's plug it into an amp and see what it sounds like. For the audio demo, I'll be using my Adam Jones Silverburst Les Paul Standard plugged into my EVH 5153 50-watt head. I have to admit, I wasn't really expecting what I heard here. I mean, it definitely works. It lowers the amp volume to very manageable levels with a turn of a knob, but it's not as transparent as I was expecting. Its effect is also by far the most apparent in the first 1/4 of the knob's travel. That first quarter turn has all the volume control, and everything after that seems to mostly just add saturation. Turning it down doesn't drastically change the tone, but it does create a noticeable difference. It's not a big enough difference to make me particularly dislike it, but it's worth mentioning. Considering the low cost of it, I don't think the change in tone is completely unreasonable or a deal breaker. So what do I think overall? Well, I wouldn't use it for recording since it does change the sound a bit, but it does do the job it was designed to do. Most importantly, it does it quite effectively and quite affordably. As long as you don't go in expecting it to work and sound exactly like a several $100 power attenuator, then you should be perfectly happy with it. If you need a way to tame the volume of your loud tube amp, consider giving the JHS little black amp box a try. Well, that's all I have for you today. Just a relatively quick video to show you what this little guy can do. If you've tried a little black amp box or a bigger, fancier attenuator in your rig, let's talk about it in the comments below. Oh man, here we go. I am getting too old for this.